Good morning, Inspire and Illuminators. It is me, Jennifer Engels, CEO and founder of Inspire and Illuminate, which is me really trying to wrap up and put out highest possibility states, kind of the sequel to Heaven Under Construction, and doing these random jaunts with Jen. Jaunts with Jen are just that. I take a walk every morning. A lot of times I'll wake up, I'll have my coffee, I might do a little work for school or for personal. And then I like to listen to or think about or meditate upon a spiritual concept. And then I go out and I take a walk. And sometimes I can feel a certain energy. So I might do an energy report, but that's not what I'm going to do today. Or I'll simply share what I've been reflecting on and thinking about. Again, the purpose is not to have anybody think or agree with my ideas or my perspective. It's simply to share it in order to, one, make other people not feel alone, because I do feel like I see and experience the world differently than a lot of people, but because others have shared their point of view and how they see the world, I didn't feel so alone. And or, number two, to maybe open people's mind just a little bit, to maybe see the world a little differently, in a way that maybe they haven't seen it before. So the thing that I've been thinking about, and I wrote about a lot in highest possibility states, and pretty much the whole purpose of that book is to ask people to take either at least a glance if not a deep dive into their own subconscious, and to kind of teach people how the subconscious works, to educate them that it is our subconscious that controls, it depends on the data. It could be anywhere from 90 to 99% of our behavior, of our thoughts, of our actions. And that's why it is so imperative that we actually look into our subconscious, which most people don't want to do. Because most people, like in a shed or a junk drawer or a closet, just throw shit in there without actually looking at it to see if it's helpful or not. So that's kind of the purpose of highest possibility states. But what I've been realizing more and more, and I've been talking about this since maybe 2014 and 15, that we live in the juxtaposition. Now, for the past almost that length of time, I've been almost looking at the subconscious like we each have our own individual subconscious. And on one hand we do. But I am also starting to realize, and again, we live in the juxtaposition, where on one hand, we are all very individual, and we might look and see and think differently. But on the other hand, we are all connected. So here's a little insight. When you come into Jen's physical world, I look at you as if you are a part or a reflection of me. You know, when I look at you, if you are in my physical presence, I ask my mind, what part of me are you? You know, I have heard in the past, this was several years ago, I was working with someone, and within this environment, there would be a few ladies who would get together for lunch, and they would talk about the gossip of the day or whatever. And alone, in our own private room, she would say, I am not them. And in my mind, I'm like, well, they're in your physical reality. So to me, we live in a mirror world. They're reflecting back to you a part you don't like about yourself. You know, our world, again, it was funny. Someone said, I can't believe what's going on. This was yesterday. I'm like, I really don't watch the news or anything, so what's going on? And they told me about this storm on the Capitol. And then someone said to me, this is why you must stay so happy. I'm like, you know, I really just look within my physical surroundings because to me that is reflecting how I'm doing. And I did kind of joke and I said, yeah, I kind of stay in my own little world. They like me there. They know me there. But when something is brought to my attention, I will go research it and learn about it. So what I've been learning is we live in the juxtaposition. We are individual, but we are connected. So even though I am not storming the Capitol, you know, protesting, whatever, even though I don't shout and yell, even though I try really hard to exert peace and compassion and joy, if you look at a tree, this is how God, the universe, source, whatever you want to call it, explains it to me. Through the things in this physical world. So if you think about a tree, you have the trunk. That represents the ultimate source. And then from the trunk extends 2, 3, 4, 5 very large boughs. That's where we start to divide and split. And then even those boughs might divide and split into 2, 4, even smaller yet large branches. And then even those branches split off further and further. So if I look at it that way, on one hand, if I am a bud, I am a leaf on one of those very separated branches, and I'm looking at all the different other branches and buds and leaves, I can say, I'm not that. That's not me. But if I were to take a higher, wider, larger perspective, I could pull back, I could see the whole tree and realize that while I might not be on the same branch or bough as those other people. I am connected to and with them at the trunk, at the source level. In addition, I've been seeing the subconscious like homes in a neighborhood. We each have our own individual subconscious house, if you will, shed, as I call it in the book. But there are houses next to us. There are neighborhoods next to us. All of these subconscious sheds and homes are within a city. All these cities are within a country. All these countries are within a planet. And all these planets are within a solar system or galaxy. And so on and so forth. So there are many trees in a field. There's the individual family tree. There's the neighborhood tree. There's the city tree. There is the state tree. There's the country tree. There's the planet tree. There's the galactic tree. And so when you start realizing that you are this little leaf, you are this little bud on a much larger system. I don't know about you, but for me, it's really opened my eyes to the enormous responsibility that I have being that one little single leaf on that whole system. If as a leaf I say, well, I don't want to gather the light for the sun. I don't want to take the poison, carbon dioxide, negativity, darkness into my own being. I don't want to transform it into oxygen, into the breath of life for others. Well, if every single leaf on that tree decided to do that, the whole tree would die. And so when you start understanding, and if you start saying, I am not those people, I hate those people, blah, 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 and you judge and you have anger, all you're doing is reflecting that part of the tree which is already sick. And do you know what trees do? This is pretty cool. I read a book about trees that my mom sent me. When a tree near them is sick, they don't shut off that tree. In fact, they understand there's a delicate balance between where they've all grown together. And if they lose that tree, they lose the whole balance of the ecosystem that they've created. And so what do trees do? They send their energy. They send their light. They send things to the sick trees. They don't cut them off. And I'm going to be honest. It's not easy. I wrote down in 2011, and I've been searching and asking and pondering and meditating on love at least since I was 16, if not before. And I spent so many hours in meditation and reflection and in dysfunctional relationships and healthy relationships, learning about this concept with myself and with and for others. I've often said, the further the leaf is away from me, the easier, in my mind, it is for me to practice transforming anger into compassion. And I know there are examples out there where it might not work, but at least in my own experience, it has worked. Maybe not always the way I think it should look or how it should go, but it does work. And so today, during these turbulent times, I ask you to think about and meditate on trees. I want you to think about your own individual leaf within that tree. I want you to think about, are you going to absorb and transform, like in Kung Fu Panda 2, negativity into light? Or are you going to continue to add to the sickness of the tree? This is what I was thinking about this morning. I hope that this talk has inspired someone today so that you can use your own reflection and thoughts and actions to first help yourself and then to help the people around you and beyond. Because wow, more than ever, the world desperately needs you. Yeah, it desperately needs you and your gifts. Peace and blessings.